That would help. Good morning. A bad white balance day, basically a mishandling of the buttons, but we're going to get through this Wednesday, March the 8th, 2023. My name is Jay Clifton Payne, bringing you things you might have heard, and these are yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture because it's 5:50 in the morning. All this stuff happened yesterday, but we're going to get you off to a great start with your news fix as your news side piece, taking good care of you going forward with all that stuff. There's a lot of mix of things that you probably missed out in the mainstream media because there's been a couple of really big stories that have been repeated over and over again. We'll get to those as well, but we mix in a couple of the smaller things that are pretty interesting, and we know you think you're interesting because you vet them initially. We put them in on what we call our feeds, use social media, Facebook and Twitter, to allow you to tell us what stories are most popular. And we do that with your engagement. We'll explain that in about 10 minutes after we go through the headlines. So we'll go through how you can be engaged with this. But right now, I want to remind you that you can get more details of what we're doing all day, all night, all the time. Now just go into our website. This is a conversationproject.com. Or I'm sorry, this is a conversationproject.com, and seeing how we do this program in various forms plus other things as well. So right now, let's get in on the actual action and get into the news. 8 news stories that were vetted by you guys out there and curated by me today. Story number 1 this morning is essentially the top story. Although there's so many things fighting for our attention, was the top story of essentially on all the newscasts, everyone talking about it, at least making it in the top 2 or 3 in their chyrons. 2 Americans kidnapped in Mexico found dead, 2 found alive. This is an update from yesterday's story, or actually day before story, where the 4 people traveling to Mexico were kidnapped as they went in there. They were basically suspected of being, at least cartels suspected them of being Haitian drug smugglers coming in their turf, and they abducted them. 2 of the Americans were found dead, 2 of them found alive. Both of them are still in hospitals. The 2 alive are still in hospitals, 1 in critical condition. And what we're knowing about this is that the group went down to Mexico when they crossed the border, across from Texas, Brown, Texas, into Mexico, because one was going to get a procedure. We're told this is tummy tuck. People say it's tummy tuck, but basically a medical procedure. It was her second time down there, and it was, safety in numbers, a bunch of people going down there so that everybody would take care of each other. But what happened happened. We will find out more details how this goes on, whether the 2 that are still alive will actually survive the ordeal. They are working right now to recover the bodies of the 2 dead people there. And the irony of this was they were found at a medical facility. It just dropped off at a medical facility, and then he realized who they were, and we're able to get through this one. This is one that no one is giving up on anytime soon, so keep an eye on for more details on this one. This is one that hopefully will be given up pretty soon. Now, let me caveat this as I put in 4 links yesterday dealing with this in particular. The first one was the fact that Tucker Carlson actually put in his video, his clips, and his commentary on the video he got from Kevin McCarthy. The second one was the fact that Brett Baer of Fox News had to sort of fact check Tucker Carlson on what he put out there as being kind of crazy and false. The third one was Anderson Cooper apologizing for having to play it because he felt it was pretty dumb because it was all lies. And this is one as well. GOP senators blast Tucker Carlson for January 6th revisionist. Essentially, he played some deep cuts from much of the video that was not presented in the January 6th committee because it wasn't relevant, that showed things that didn't quite make sense, like Brian Sicknick, the officer who died of his injuries the next day, walking around after the incident, just sort of milling around like normal, and the shaman guy just kind of wandering around, being escorted by police, the whole time. More or less just sort of being corralled until he found a way to be in the big crowd. But it was just clips that were out of context and made no sense. And Tucker Carlson showed, see, this is why it's all fake, even though there were big clips of people outside the thing storming the castle, but people inside wandering around. Oh, once it got inside, just let them wander around. Yeah, it didn't quite happen. GOP senators, basically any senator, anybody with eyes, essentially blasted Tucker Carlson for being a dumbass. And that's pretty much all we can do about this one. Maybe he'll give this up, especially with all the news dump we had with the million stuff about how much he basically hated Donald Trump and didn't want to talk about this stuff, yet he talks about it all the time. if you're a Fox News viewer, I have to say this very slow and calmly, and I'm not counting out, but they think you're stupid. They provide just enough news fact so they can say they're giving news stuff, and then they sprinkle it with all sort of just crazy bullshit. And I said that out loud. Bullshit. If you're a Fox News watcher, don't turn to Newsmax. Don't do your own research, but just listen real closely to what's going on at Fox and pay attention to what's saying, because they'll tell you the quiet parts out loud pretty often. Let's go through the rest of it pretty quickly. We spent a lot of time on Tucker Carlson, more time than I wanted to, trust me. Paramount mulls selling minority stake in BET. Byron Allen, Tyler Perry expressed interest in buying. What is ironic is two of the biggest names in the actual black entertainment today, Tyler Perry and Byron Allen, two people you would not have expected from their beginnings to be billionaires vying out for this big company BET, are looking into buying it. Paramount is trying to all the media companies are trying to save face and save money and spinning off bits and pieces of things. And so Paramount is looking to sell a big chunk of its BET stake. And maybe Byron Allen, who was, once a just kind of a mid-level comedian, I'll say. I'm not to bash him, but basically kind of those mid-level comedians for a while, and then did some TV stuff. And Tyler Perry, who started off, of course, with the Medea plays, turned that into a massive franchise. These two people from humble beginnings may be, and they're both billionaires, oddly enough, may be able to run the standard for black entertainment television, the Black Entertainment Television Network. Gender pay gap remains stable over past 20 years in U.S. This is good news and bad news. Good news is that the gender pay gap has not gotten wider. The bad news is the gender pay gap has not gotten smaller. Now, what also is found out in research, and you need to actually go click the link. This is the fact sheet from the Pew Research organization. With all the data, it's really interesting. What comes out in kind of the out of the wash and things is there are more women in more positions where they're making more money, and so the fact that the gender gap in pay is stable. There's actually more women making more money, which means the money that's being made evens itself out. People in the same job are still making a lesser amount of money, but with more people, more women in those jobs, they're making more per person as opposed to just per male and female. Read the research, read the listening, actually read the research on this one and go in deeper into this one. We can chat this one anywhere you want to chat this one up at preposition opening made on purpose. Conflict with China is inevitable unless U.S. changes course, Beijing's new foreign minister warns. Not only is the new foreign minister saying this, but Xi Jinping is saying that the U.S. is kind of stirring the pot. It's not us. It's not China. No, we don't do this. It's not us. It's y'all. That's how y'all say it? Y'all? Y'all. U.S. That spells y'all, right? Yeah. Y'all need to back off or we're going to have some beef. Right now, there's a lot going on behind the scenes with, trying to get weapons to Taiwan and trying to make sure we have ships in the area just in case some sort of conflict pops off. But right now, the Chinese government, the people who are in charge of stuff, the ones that aren't running TikTok and all that stuff, are telling us that, hey, y'all need to back off. You know that thing in Ukraine? Yeah, y'all need to back off. And guess what? People with sense are taking it seriously. Here's some disturbing news. Counseling service BetterHelp shared customer health data with Facebook and Snapchat, FTC says. So BetterHelp, who is basically faced by Michael Phelps and offers a great way for people to get this service of counseling and just by doing it not so much anonymously but online and in convenient ways. Does this way anything that does things online and convenient does, they sell your data to people so they can sell you stuff. An online counselor service, BetterHelp, has agreed to return $7.8 million to customers and limit how they share their consumer data in the future. So it's not a fine per se, it's a refund, if you will, but it is still more or less a slap in the wrist. The FTC said BetterHelp promised to not use or disclose customers' personal data, but nevertheless revealed data, including emails and IP addresses, to Facebook, Snapchat, Criteo, and Pinterest for advertising purposes, because that's how they do this. That's how it works. It's all copacetic for those cases, except it should be private data if it's something like your mental health. What I'm not sure what exactly they're targeting from people from Better Health, but they found a way to do that. And so, if you're a Better Health customer, you're probably going to see a chance to get some of this money back. Look for that. Meanwhile, Meta is planning thousands of more cuts after widespread layoffs, report says. Pretty much it. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the company's got to, trim the fat, got to make things work, and so they're looking at doing some cuts because that's the easiest way to make things work out. They're doing some things internally, of course, to fight the fights that they're doing on, but essentially, their biggest competitor right now is the eyeballs going to TikTok with its problems right now. More people are staying on TikTok much longer and going to Facebook much less and staying there much less time as well. To fight that, the best way to do that is to get rid of some staff and make less people do more work. That's kind of how it works. And finally, Nestle, Tyson, and other food giants bet on air fryer boom to grow sales. If you hadn't noticed, and you probably have noticed since prices of food's gone up so much, if you read the instructions and read things online and read all the stuff on food, you'll find more and more things that are made for the air fryer come out of frozen foods that's made just put in the air fryer and go, or instructions for air frying things, how to air fry things properly, because people are buying this. Sidebar, my wife and I went to the Alton Brown show, and he did a thing at the end where he doesn't allow people to film the second part because he does a thing where he takes industrial grade flamethrowers and makes a air fryer, in air quotes, to air fry a mass amounts of wings because he has a bit about his mother wanted some wings in the air fryer, so he put them in the air fryer and it didn't come out well, so he made this contraption that you got to see. It's a big funny bit, and it's a big funny contraption, this large thing going on, and it's massive. But Elton Brown's hatred of air fryers is not America's love for Alton Brown is not stopping his hatred from air fryers from taking over the nation, because everyone has an air fryer. We have two, and everything goes in the air fryer. Everything gets reheated in the air fryer. Everything gets done a lot of times in the air fryer, and many times what you're seeing now is that all these brands are embracing air fryer life because it's simple, it's easy, and they have them. It's money. It's money. It's money. If you're not on the air fryer bandwagon, trust me, you'll be sucked in and assimilated fairly soon. You will. Just go with it. Let's go to our teaser story for today. This is a story that we may talk about tomorrow. If you deal, it's conversational. This is where we talk about the feeds part. Go to facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project and twitter.com/th_conversation, and you can tell me if we can possibly talk about this one. Now, we will take the top 8 stories. We'll take the top 15 stories of the day. So we'll get about 30 stories throughout the day today. We'll take the top 15 and we'll pull 8 of them to present here. We'll present this one. The headline reads, Nick Cage doesn't need the MCU because he's Nick Cage, says Nick Cage. So listen to Nick Cage in this article on Nick Cage and just read it, and you let me know if this is one we're going to chat up tomorrow. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. The more engagement the story gets, higher chance we get to actually talk about it in the morning. That's how it works out, because you guys do the heavy lifting. You guys do the bulk of the work for these things. You guys push these things. You let me know what stories are conversational so we can have conversations on them. You don't let me know what sponsors put out here, but, well, actually you do, because it's from your responses. And we've gotten a lot of response as we put Flowers Fast as one of our title sponsors for the day, and that is our sponsor for today. You can go to our main website and see our sponsors page and see many of our main sponsors, our show sponsors. But today we're going to put this emphasis on Flowers Fast, which can be found at thisisaconversationproject.com/flowersfast. Pretty simple. Flowers and fast. Or maybe it's chocolates and fast, or candies and fast. Flowers Fast is an online florist that has access to all the FTD services out there in the world, essentially. So what it is, it's just one group who decides that we're going to make sure that we're going to get your orders out as fast as possible. Order in the morning, and via FTD, you can get your flowers ordered by that afternoon. Same day flowers across the nation from Flowers Fast. It can get you out of trouble if you need Flowers Fast, or you can do it ahead of time and be set aside so you don't have to worry about having them so much fast, but reliable and inexpensive, and on time. Check out This is a conversationproject.com/flowersfast. This is a conversationproject.com/flowersfast. And let us know how much you love all of our sponsors, and especially let us know if you're loving some flowers fast. The Conversation Project is homed at thisisaconversationproject.com. Now, all March long, we are doing the pledge drive thing. We are asking you for your help. We're asking you to go to our partnerships page. Thisisaconversationproject.com/partnerships, or click partnerships when you get to the website, and see if there are ways that you can want to help us. If we think that we're doing a lot of work, we know that much. But if you think the work we're doing is worthy of contributions, of some help, check out the partnerships page. You can also just go to our sponsors and use the sponsors. Going to a sponsor costs you nothing extra. We get a little cut off that because they're affiliate sponsors in most cases. Some of them are kind of a bit paid up front, but most of them are affiliates, so they're based off sales. So the more sales we get, the more money we get there. But if you want to fund us directly, you think, hey, you guys are doing good on your own, we need to make sure this thing sticks around. Stop by the partnerships page and see if there's a way that we can partner up and help get things done. We want to hire in someone to help with the editing and someone to help with some producing stuff, and get some more gear to make the thing run a little smoother. If you think we're worthy of it, check out partnerships page. Otherwise, make sure you're following us on all our places. You can find where they are at thisisaconversationproject.com. We do the website and say go there because it's a lot faster than naming them off. We've done that. And it enables us to get more time for the fun stuff, such as today things that you might have heard. Starting off with the birthdays for today. Still in the spotlight on Freddie Prinze Jr., who is 47 years old today. James Vanderbeek. Yes, Dawson is 46 years old. And Milana Vayntrub, who is an actual actress who's gotten more famous from just playing Lily in the AT&T commercials from doing any actual show. She was supposed to be Squirrel Girl in a, freeform production of The New Warriors. Back when Marvel was still kind of Wild West with its smaller franchises, but she's not. But she is doing well as Lily. Going away, coming back during the pandemic, having the right to do what she wants to do, and if she wants to stand behind a desk, by gosh, darling, Lily stands behind a desk. Nobody puts Lily behind a desk except for Lily. That's how it works out. Other birthdays of note, because there were a lot of guys, I should say, literally, with big names are in today. Mickey Dolenz, who is the remaining monkey at 78. Lester Holt, one of my heroes, guy that I try to model my career out of, not doing so well, I should say, 64 on the age today. Also, Aidan Quinn, his birthday twin at 64. And Carolyn Manheim, Law and Order to Practice, a whole bunch of other stuff. She was in, the show where the chick saw dead people? I think she was. 62 years old on the day. Today is Peanut Cluster Day. And on Peanut Cluster Day, we are celebrating peanut clusters, a very yummy candy. Now, we said all this week we're going to stick to foods, and that's what we're doing. So we are going to celebrate Peanut Cluster Day. But just in case you wanted something a bit more crunchy, pun intended, it's also Be Nasty Day. It's also Proofreading Day, Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day, and what really is kind of important, International Women's Day. You'll see plenty of reports on International Women's Day today, and takes a little time to go through them and support an international woman of your own, whether it's foreign or domestic, if you will. So give some support to women in what they're doing. We have some, we'll get to that in a second in our one of our final things, but we have some things that are sort of womanish, if you will. We'll go with that. Let's go on to the Today in History. Three things on today. So number one, in 1983, President Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire. So how'd that work out? Well, eventually they tore down that wall, and then eventually Putin came in, and now apparently they are back or filling the actual prophecy of trying to be an evil empire. Thank you, Putin. 1998, surgeons in China removed two of a 32-year-old farmer's three tongues to allow him to speak and eat normally for the first time in 20 years. The man had grown a second tongue at the age of 5 and a third tongue at the age of 12. And finally, in 2009, the last but the Circuit City stores closed its doors. Do you remember Circuit City? Do you remember it was in 2009? Doesn't seem like that long ago, but that's like almost 15 years at this point. Circuit City's been gone that long. Now, the retail electronics world, obviously, Amazon and online stuff has sort of destroyed all that stuff. But the fact that you can go to the store and buy all these things at the various places, Best Buy still hanging on by a thread. Other places, and some places, if you live out in California, I think Fry's is still pretty viable as a warehouse where you can go get stuff. But the times of definitely have changed, and the knowledge of base of the consumer has changed, where you can do your research and find things out there. Although, to be honest, the warehousing, the showcasing, whatever you want to call it, where you go to Best Buy and you look at it and you go buy it online, is essentially what killed Circuit City. Also, a lot of Circuit Cities they were a bit expensive, and just the management of the stores were kind of bad. Same with Radio Shack, which I was actually a member of the Radio Shack generation, as it was killing itself and going down. But in 2009, the last Circuit City closed its doors, and that is something that not so much missed, but it's something that as a cultural thing means something. It's kind of like, thinking way back to Montgomery Wards and Sears and things like that, the way things were and the way things are now. Let's go to one last thing, or actually it's two things. We just can't seem to press the right button this day. Two more things. I should have changed that into a thing that you might not have heard, because they're semi-related. They're both interesting, so I want to get them in there, and we're a little early, so we got time to do these. First, think you've hit a mental dead end? Take it off. Take it off. Researchers found that a night of passion can boost your brain power, especially for those in new relationships. There you go. Blood tests on people who have recently fallen for someone seem to show the heightened levels of nerve growth, which is crucial for mental illness. Now, back in college, there's the whole, joke that, best way to get over a cold is to have sex because, blood pumping, it's exercise, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, there's something to that for the blood pumping to give you a brain boost. Meanwhile, one of the consequences of this brain boost is pregnancy. So, if you are pregnant, and that's cause only like half the conversation we hear, then you better save up for a new pair of shoes, because I heard this a bunch, and it is true. A study found pregnancy permanently changes the shape and size of women's feet. Studies found this. It is true. My wife was not crazy. Her feet were weird while she was pregnant. 70% of the soon-to-be mommies ended up with longer feet, close to a half an inch. Their feet also became wider and flatter. And that's with just the first pregnancy. What happens with the second and third? Well, not as much. The worst usually happens during baby number one, as your body figures things out. That's also like the joke where you see on the commercial where, baby number one, and you got bubble wrapping the kid, and baby number two, it's like, just don't stick the fork into the outlet and you'll be okay. By the second, third baby, you've got some rounds down, and your body has figured things out, so it's not going through so much changes and pressures. But it's especially bad with your first kid, or if you have kids, years apart, and your body has sort of forgotten, oh yeah, this is what happens. That happens as well. And with that, we're going to wrap things up. It's not Tuesday. Well, since we hit that one, let's do that as well. Since we hit that, if you're feeling the need to talk to, go to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can text or call them at 988, or you can go to 988lifeline.org online and talk to someone 24/7 in English and Spanish, or text to someone 24/7. That was supposed to be the end day, so I guess I did not actually change out, or I opened the wrong slides and didn't actually change out the title slide, because today is actually Wednesday, March 8th. Don't want to give Wednesday not its due, because that's what day it is. So have a great day. Check out the latest episode of The Mandalorian. I think The Last of Us is on Sundays, and of course Poker Face is on Thursdays. So tomorrow we'll talk about Poker Face. But enjoy yourself, enjoy your day, enjoy your time with us, and make sure you're staying hydrated, staying limber, and on task for all the grand things you have to come. Let us know what you think about some of the things we've been doing in the workout things and in trying to do some edits. And yes, we are going to ask you again, if you deem us worthy of a little help, we'll take a little help. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/partnerships and see if there's a way you can partner up with us to help us keep things going. We're trying to get an additional $200 a month and raise it and have that secured by the end of this month. So we are getting closer. We're getting there. It's working its way up. 8 days in, about 23 more and going forward. So we'll see how we go going forward. In the meantime, let's stop talking. Let's have more action, a little less conversation, a little more button clicking. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.